Hi everyone, Mon here. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. This channel is called Intuitive Soul Savant. So if I pop up in the middle of a video and say that again, it's apparently one way that you can avoid being copied by AI. I don't think anyone really wants to copy me. There isn't much of a subscriber list anyway, and I think that's why they copy, is to try to cash in on Google. And I'm not even in the financial swoop of Google anyway, okay? So, but in saying that, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, please like the videos. I did a great video on Pluto retrograde. It got up to 57 views, and then it stopped and nobody's looked at it in the last 5 days. So the likes, comments definitely help the channel, right? You know, I've studied a long time. I really would like to reach a wider audience, but the algorithms, that's just the way they work. Okay, so it's not about my ego. In no way is it about my ego, but I put time into this. Feedback's great, keeps me going. I'm not charging for my information. So please help me along. I ask every time, everybody asks on YouTube. So please help me out. And in saying that, you can go to the description box, and I also do consultations, and they're very deep consultations, and they're very personalized consultations. They're nothing like any other astrologer would do. I don't leave you until you feel that you've received everything you need to. You also receive a 30-page numerology report. So there's lots of value in my readings. Okay, so that information's in the description box. You can just drop me an email. My website's there. Better to go through me because you charge a little bit extra on the website. All right. Well, how are we today? Firstly, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers around the world. I had a beautiful meditation this morning. My ancestors we joined as one. That's how it works for me through the seventh chakra. And it was very interesting, you know, the compassion, the love that came through with that energy, with the divine. And I just want to say, if you've lost your child, if your child is estranged from you, I feel very sorry. I've experienced that myself. And it isn't easy for a mother to lose their child. And I send love and compassion out to you on this Mother's Day. And in my meditation this morning, I was shown, you know, how it's very through the ancestral lineage. You know, when I think of my grandmother, she lost a son to alcohol and estranged. He died after she passed over. But, you know, she was estranged from her only son for a very long time. He had alcoholism, which is prevalent in the genetic ancestry of my family. And my other grandmother, she lost two of her daughters, 2 out of 4 daughters. She lost before she passed, so she would have experienced that loss. And if you go back through your ancestral lineage, there's loss, you know, and that's what I personally feel I'm here for my ancestors, is to heal that pain. And, you know, I don't have my son around me, and, you know, nor does he have an open heart for me. So, you know, that's very painful as a mother. However, there is healing. There is heart healing for you if you want that, okay? But go through the grief, feel the grief, and allow that to move through your body into love of experiencing a mother, being a mother, Yeah, it's interesting. Next, in 7 days, we've got a new moon in Taurus, and the moon is exalted in Taurus. You know, Taurus offers that security and stability and comfort. And the moon is the nurturer, the mother symbol, the nurturer, you know. So wouldn't it have been lovely if we'd had a new moon today, Mother's Day? But anyway, it's 1 week away. So I'm not actually going to discuss the new moon today. We're just going to talk about this week's energies. We've had in the last week Pluto's station retrograde at 5 degrees 31 minutes. It's probably not even moved a minute. It won't move very far from the 531 in the next month. So, you know, my heart goes out to the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. If you've got your planets, and I know that some of you have at those degrees, just bear with it, feel the pain, feel the energy, allow it to pass through you, and it will subside. The other side of it is joy, love, and happiness. Okay, but when you're in it, I know no more better than anybody, as the Saturn ruled Capricorn, that the pain isn't easy. Okay, it isn't easy. But there's lots of videos in the playlist. If you'd like some soothing, that is my intention with my Pluto videos, is to soothe and help those going through it to realize they're not alone, and what they're feeling and what they're experiencing, they're not alone. Okay, can be lonely out there when you don't know others that are experiencing, you know, a Pluto challenging transit, but we are here for you. All right. Now this week, so we had it's Sunday here today. Yes, I'm a day late. I'm meant to be. So I'm glad that it is Sunday and I'm able to make this on Mother's Day. Friday, we had no aspects here in Australia. Saturday, yesterday, no aspects here in Australia. And today, Sunday, no aspects here in Australia. It's a quiet week. It's a very quiet week aspect-wise. And I think we can all take a big breath of relief this week. Next week, there's some interesting transits coming along. And in the month of June and July, we have some interesting transits with those outer planets. So Monday the 11th, the 11, my favourite number, that's tomorrow here, and it is at midday, Monday, Sydney time. So for you Northern Hemispheres, that might be late Sunday evening or very early Monday morning. We have the Sun in Taurus sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. Now, this is very interesting. Tuesday, no aspects. Wednesday, the 13th, we have Mercury in Taurus sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. So both the Sun and Mercury are going to be sextiling Jupiter before we have a superior conjunction of the Sun and Mercury. So it's all about the Sun and Mercury this week. It's all about our egos and our thinking, right? I'm not going to say mind, I'm going to call it thinking. And with thinking, once many people, when they think, they communicate it immediately, okay? So that's sort of how Quicksilver Mercury is. You have a thought, boom, it's out of your mouth. And this is where, as we mature, we try to stop after we've had those thoughts, and we get the opportunity when our thinking is mastered, right, by ourselves, we get the opportunity to yay or nay speaking out our thoughts, because they can be very harmful, and we also know that they create our reality. All right, so Monday the 11th, it's at 20 degrees 25 minutes. So Jupiter is now stepping into the third decan of Cancer. Now, as I said, with the Sun in Taurus, happy birthday, Taurians, by the way. I don't think I've said happy birthday. Let's just have a look at those Taurian energies before we look at the transits, because we've got that new moon in Taurus next Sunday. So let's go over the traits of the Taurus energy, and you can be thinking about that all this week before the new moon. And next Sunday, which I believe Mercury will be in the play with the new moon in Taurus, all right? Because the new moon is at 25 degrees 58 minutes. So Mercury will dash behind the sun at 23 degrees 48 minutes, but I'll discuss that sun conjunct Mercury, all right? That superior conjunction. It's not a cazimi, okay? It's a superior conjunction, and a bit of teaching, a bit of astrological teaching to show you how that actually works. So, Taurus energy is very practical. It's very grounded energy. It's very in the body. It rules in the body. It rules our senses, our 5 senses. Taurians are very tactile. They love comfort. They love fluffy blankets. They like the feel of things. They love massages. Taurians are my best clients. They just lay there and they lap up the hands-on healing. And with Taurus, they rule the second house of the horoscope. And the second house of the horoscope, people think money, okay? And yes, money is part of our life on Earth at the moment, in this now time frame. So Taurus requires financial security, because they feel that with the financial security, all of us do, that we can obtain more stability, okay? A shadow of Taurus would be having too much stuff and being a hoarder, believing that all of that is making you secure. However, basically, Taurus is about financial security, to get a home, to be secure from the elements, okay? Think back to early man. We're sleeping in caves and under trees and what have you. Well, we were very open to the elements, and that's not a very secure feeling. So the Taurus natives, the Taurus energy, the Taurus in our chart, whatever house it falls in, is about the security. But Taurus, the second house rules our value system. Now, most people will think their values come from their early caregiving, their ancestral lineage, and that is what is taught to us until we become sovereign beings and we can decide for ourselves what we do actually value, because your values may not be in alignment with your ancestors' values, your parents' values, these things that have been all passed down the line. And if you think about old money is passed down the line as inheritances or as trusts, okay? So the value system for ourselves is very important, because what is attached to the value system is our self-worth. Now, if you've grown up like me in a emotionally abusive, a lack of emotional energy, emotional isolation, everything to do with a child growing up to become comfortable with their emotional body. Well, there's a lot of us that didn't have that validation from our caregivers that our emotions were okay. Therefore, our self-esteem, our self-worth was wounded, damaged in a sense, okay? But as I said, light at the end of the tunnel, all of that past, all of that conditioning can be turned around when you become a sovereign being, all right? So for us to receive finances, if we aren't in old money or have wealthy parents, our self-worth is relative to how we receive and how much we allow to come to us in whatever desires are yours as far as finances go and security goes. So once your self-worth is healed and you feel whole again, you come to an understanding that you deserve it all. You deserve your desires. You are worthy of financial security. You are worthy of financial freedom. You are worthy of financial stability. But you've got to get in deep into the onion to really know the unconscious, to really know what you think about yourself. And I have said on the Pluto channels, in my shadow work, I had no idea I hated myself. Whoa, I got to that core of the onion and it shocked me that I actually hated myself. I hated myself. But I don't now. I actually love myself. My ancestors love me and the divine loves me. I'm a very loving person. And I deserve financial stability. More so, I call it financial freedom. Okay, so that's sort of Taurus's energy around money, self-worth, security, and they're very practical. So it is practical to believe that you're a human being on this planet and you deserve the funds to be able to live comfortably, right? But we know what's going on out there with the powers that want to be, that there is an elite group of people that are holding most of the money, and we're going to flip that. We're going to flip that energy around for sure. So the body is very important to Taurus, along with our senses. Okay, so when Taurus season comes about, you might want to go and take time for a massage or some sort of body work for yourself, okay? With the new moon coming in Taurus next week, that is a nice thing to do for yourself. Being an earth sign, Taurus is very connected to nature, to gardening. I found myself repotting plants this week, Taurus season, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have indoor plants because I don't have a outside. I'm in units. And that's lovely. Putting your hands in the dirt, and whether it's outside, whether it's walking in nature, Taurians love that connection to the earth, and grounding oneself, being grounded. Taurians and Taurus energy is very deliberate. So Taurians move very slowly, okay, and deliberately. All right. And that is their nature. That is their nature. And, if they are building security, it's not an overnight thing for them. They will build their security deliberately, consciously. Okay. The only problem, the shadow of it, is the hoarding. Okay. Because we need to ask ourselves, what is enough? What is enough for me to feel secure on this planet? And there is no right or wrong, there is no judgment, as long as we don't step into greed, which is really sort of a light hoarding. Okay, that's the shadow side, is hoarding. So there are our energies around Taurus. And isn't it interesting? The Sun and Mercury sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter, the truth. I love the truth of Jupiter in Cancer. The mother, the home, the nurturer, the emotional body, the emotional connection in relationship as a water sign, Cancer. So with the Sun sextiling Jupiter in Cancer, let's bring the light into the truth of our comfort, our personal comfort, as well as our family's comfort with Cancer. And then Mercury, the consciousness, the thinking about the truth of the Cancer energy, of that self-nurturing even. to become aware of, to think of. So this week we have that energy with the Sun and Mercury to think, and the new moon next Sunday in Taurus, we have that energy to think about our security, our emotional security, the truth of what our true values are, Mercury in Taurus, around our emotional security, Jupiter in Cancer. The truth for us. Okay, so there's some lovely transits. Monday the 11th, Sun sextile Jupiter. Wednesday the 13th, Mercury sextile Jupiter. And it's 20 degrees, 25 minutes with the Sun, 20 degrees, 45 minutes with Mercury. Now, as I said, nothing on Thursday, no aspects. Friday the 15th, the Sun conjuncts Mercury, midday here, Sydney time, early in the morning in the Northern Hemisphere, and that is at 23 degrees, 48 minutes. If you can hear my neighbour's children, calm down. Okay, so 23 degrees, 48 minutes, the Sun conjuncts Mercury in Taurus, and this is called a superior conjunction. Now, imagine I am Earth, and here is the Sun, and I can see the Sun. Now, Mercury is going to come along and go behind the Sun, right? So for a moment, we won't see Mercury because it's hidden behind the Sun. And then Mercury will continue going forward, passing the Sun. Now, Mercury only gets 18 to 28 degrees past the Sun before it retrogrades. So we've got a retrograde coming up soon, right? So when there's a superior conjunction with Mercury, you know we're going to be getting a Mercury retrograde soon. So once Mercury stations retrograde, it's going to come in front of the Sun, and that's called an inferior conjunction and often a cazimi, right? So did you get that? I am Earth, this is the Sun, Mercury's going behind the Sun, stationing retrograde, and then it's going to come in front of the Sun. So there's the Sun-Mercury conjunction, all right? Once you get the picture, it's very easy to understand, okay? And another word is occultation. And an occultation is when any two planets occupy the same degrees in their transit, okay, in their transit. So that's what's happening on Friday at 23 degrees, 48 minutes of Taurus, midday here in Sydney time. The Sun will conjunct Mercury in Taurus. So we've already had that energy from Jupiter, the truth, in Cancer, the nurturer. So for yourself, before the new moon in Taurus, what are we going to do for ourselves? To comfort ourselves, to bring ourselves more security, to check on our self-worth, our self-love. Is there any values that we need to take a look at that don't quite gel with us, but we know that they were conditioned in our youth or from society even? All right. Do we want to go and do some gardening? It's about making ourselves feel comfy. Taurus loves warm, woolly blankets, you know. So this week's all about wrapping ourselves up in comfort, okay? And when Mercury has the superior conjunction with the Sun and is behind the Sun, then Mercury's energy is very big picture, okay? It's not as personal. When Mercury's in front of the Sun, it's more personal. But behind the Sun, it's more it's big picture. Okay, so perhaps we're going to have, not that I would know because I don't watch news, I don't do social media anymore other than YouTube. We're going to maybe have some information come through for all of us across the world, all the collective, right? Because we've got that Pluto in Aquarius, the collective, and it's stationed retrograde. And Pluto, when it stations retrograde, is very, very powerful. Very powerful. All right. So that is our week. I've given you a little lesson on that Mercury behind the sun and in front of the sun. Okay. And all those lovely traits of Taurus, right? Receiving. A lot of us have been conditioned to give and not receive. That is a big, big lesson for all of those that are wanting to evolve at this time in their lives and this life. We need to learn to receive. It's an opposite energy to giving, and it doesn't come easy if you've been a giver all your life. So next Sunday, new moon in Scorpio. We'll talk about that next Saturday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, even if you don't have your children at home. I love you. I know how it feels to lose a child, whether they pass or whether they go off the rails, and your own self-worth will not allow them to disrespect you or abuse you. This is a lesson. Yes, we have these children, but if they continually treat us with disrespect, we've got to let them go, because we have learnt respect for ourselves. Now, in saying that, a person that's born with the moon in Scorpio has mother issues. It's an intense placement in an astrology chart to be born with the moon in Scorpio. Pluto rules Scorpio. It's a wound. Also Chiron in Scorpio. But the moon in Scorpio is a mother wound that you come into this life to heal. It's got nothing to do with the mother that you come into this life to. It's from the ancestors. And a moon Scorpio person may take it out on their mother for many, many years until they mature. But as long as the mother is wise enough to know that it's not her fault, right? It's not her fault that her child dislikes her. That's in that child, and that's for that child to live a life and to do with that energy as they choose to do. But just know that mothers losing their children goes right back through ancestry, right back. And there's a lot of wounds there. And us light workers, star seeds, angelics, earth angels, we're here to clean that up very easily through connection with the divine and the healing of the heart. All right, well, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Think about all the Taurus beautiful energy this week and use it to your benefit. But it's a pretty chilled week unless we hear something crazy for the collective, you know, what's going on out there with the powers that want to be. All right, I love you all, and I'll see you soon. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing yet. My other channel, Soul Savant, just Soul Savant, is in the description box, and that doesn't have any astrology. That's all little messages about enlightenment and my experience on this path, current experience. Okay, so thank you all. Please like, please subscribe if you're new, and help this channel so it reaches more people, soothes more souls going through these challenging aspects. Thanks, everyone. Bye.